Good morning, Gladiator. Today is Tuesday, October 13th. Today I'd like for you to go to Schoology and complete a figurative language pretest. This is not going to be for a grade, it's just to determine what you know. And then we'll be taking notes on these slides, figurative language notes, which I'm going to go over with you right now. So figurative language is the opposite of literal. Literal means when the words function exactly as defined, such as the car is blue going quickly down the highway. But figurative means that the phrases go beyond the literal meaning of the word to get the message or the point across. I've got your back. The blue car was a blur of light soaring down the highway. So the first figurative language I'd like for you to take notes on in your grammar section, in your literary or figurative language section in your L&B, there's going to be 10. So I'd like for you to write the word simile, the definition, comparison of two things using like or as. Make sure you pause this video if you need some time taking notes. You are also welcome to print out these notes. An example of a simile is the metal twisted like a ribbon winding around the tree. Kate inched over her own thoughts like a measuring worm. It's important to know that just looking for the word like or as doesn't make it a simile. It has to compare two things. I like pizza is not a comparison. The moon is like a pizza is a comparison. Metaphor, number 2. Two things are compared without using like or as, saying one thing is another. All the world's a stage. That means they're comparing the world to being a stage without using like or as, and all the men and women are merely players. The parents looked upon Matilda in particular as nothing more than a scab. A scab is something you have to put up with until the time comes when you can pick it off and flick it away. So Matilda is a scab to her parents. Personification. When you give human characteristics, human traits to objects or ideas that are not human. The sunlight danced upon the water. The sunlight is an object, it cannot dance, but humans dance. The water on the lake shivers with cold and ice. The streets are calling me. Please write the word and the definition and provide an example. A hyperbole is an extreme exaggeration to show feeling or effect. I will love you forever. My house is a million miles away. She'd kill me. All extreme exaggerations. Onomatopoeia are words that make sounds. Splat, ping, thud, bang. An idiom, which we've already gone over, is a saying that isn't meant to be taken literally. The words don't mean what they are saying. You're the apple of my eye. So these phrases have more meanings than the words that they literally mean. A pun is a form of wordplay in which the words have a double meaning. I'm reading a book about anti-gravity. Gravity. It's impossible to put it down. So the pun is that you can't put anti-gravity means there is no gravity, right? So you float away, and then it's impossible to put down because it's anti-gravity. You can't put it down, so it's a pun on words. An oxymoron is when there is a contradiction. Okay, it's like hashtag CC. Opposites, a deafening silence. Good night, parting is such sweet sorrow. So the opposite, an oxymoron. It's sweet and it's sorrow. So which are complete opposites. Perfect imperfections, complete opposites, oxymorons. An allusion, and we've talked about this as before also. It is when they make a reference to another text or another famous person, another famous time or era, or event within your text. So this school was Old Monk's Garden of Eden. So that is a reference to a biblical story, and within the text, Priscilla and the monks. And you can play this videos to get some more examples. Last one, Alliteration. Alliteration is a word that begins with the same sound placed close together. It is not the same letter. So, for instance, cheerful city, ch and s are not the same sound, even though they are the same letter. But Alice ate all of the apples in the afternoon. So if you notice, ate is a long A, so that would not be part of the alliteration, but Alice, or all apples afternoon. That is an example of alliteration. So you're going to take this quiz on a sheet of paper. I will put an example of figurative language on the board or in the slides, and you're going to write whether it's a simile, metaphor, personification, hyperbole, and you can use your notes. I drew a line as straight as an arrow. Write down what figurative language you think that would be. Knowledge is a kingdom, and all who learn are kings and queens. Can I see you for a second? The sun was beating down on me. I'd rather take baths with the man eating shark or wrestle a lion alone in the dark, eat spinach and liver, pet 10 porcupines, than tackle the homework my teacher assigns. Ravenous and savage from its long polar journey, the north wind is searching for food. Dinner is on the house. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. The clouds smiled down at me. The sweet, delicious ice cream went splat on the blazing hot concrete. Her eyes looked like stars sparkling in the night sky. I could sleep forever. The wheat field was a sea of grass. The streets called to him. Finally, the car backfire was a loud pop sound screaming out in the night. I know, one more. The bitty baby birds bids goodbye. So I know I went pretty fast. I hope that you can utilize your pause button and take your time to think through each figurative language example. Now we are going to read part 2 of the belt. The audio is here along with the text. So when you finish that, you're going to open up this assignment, Analyzing Belt. Okay, the directions say, as you read over the Velt, look for examples of foreshadowing, figurative language, and sensory language. Examine these examples closely to determine why the author used them. Foreshadowing is when the author gives hints about the events that will happen later in the story. Figurative language, of course, are words not used literally. And then sensory language are words and phrases that engage the 5 senses. We've learned sensory language. We just went over figurative language. The only one that might be new is foreshadowing. And so if you see hints that the author might be giving about an event that happens later, you're going to write them down. And you'll give 3 examples for each. So you are going to use text evidence, you're going to provide the page number, and then you're just going to explain what each one is. Foreshadowing, you might have to work backwards after you see an event that occurs and then you thought, oh, maybe that was a hint, and so you can work backwards. Figurative language and sensory language, you should be able to write down as soon as you come across it. And I believe that's all we have for today, gladiators. Let's go back to our daily slides so we can see. We're taking notes, we're reading, and then we're completing the assignment. Please don't forget that we have a Freak the Mighty quiz. Make sure you have completed your reviews from Monday and last Friday so you can be prepared for that. Have a great day, gladiators.